Hello and welcome to another edition of the Are You Ready Wrestling podcast here on Newport City Radio. Big week in the world of professional wrestling. No pay-per-view or premium live events. But news, and even more news. Someone who always keeps up with the news and is our go-to source for wrestling news here on Newport City Radio, Curtis.
What we have to talk about now is some great wrestling news. But yeah, we have a lot. So let's quickly get all this done.
Quickly, yes. We'll be here for the next hour, 2 hours probably, with got mini rainforest in front of us in terms of notes. Anyway, yes, a lot of news. Normally when you sit down to make our notes and get ready for the podcast, you know, there's some contract news maybe that's come out or some rumours. This week, obviously, we'll talk about Dynamite and WWE and things like that, but there's just so much.
There is a
lot
gone
on this past 7 days since we last recorded.
There is a lot to talk about, and here at the Are You Ready podcast, we break everything down in fine detail for you.
As always.
So
I think it's only fair to kick off looking back 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And I say looking back. We're looking back and looking forward, because this week, it was rumoured for a couple of weeks now. I think WrestleVotes reported on it a few weeks, maybe a month or two back, that WWE were bringing back an old favourite Saturday night main event.
Yes.
Which I know for a while for their house shows, that the Saturday night or the Saturday show was called Saturday Night Main Event.
Yeah, or like Saturday Super Show or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. I think it was named that, then they changed it to Saturday Night Main Event. But it's coming back.
It is coming back in December 12th, I believe, to be exact.
Yes, in the Nassau Coliseum in Long Island on Long Island in New York.
Saturday 12th of December.
Yes, on NBC, the network. So they've left Fox, now they're doing another network-based special show. People are already speculating what the card's going to be. It's not a pay-per-view or premium live event. It's not
a TV show.
It's not like a Smackdown or Raw.
It's a TV. It's a live version and a TV version of the shows that they do when they come to the UK. Kind of like the October tour.
Do you see it being like a glorified house show?
Yeah.
That was going to be my question. How do you see them booking this? Do you see it just being a collaboration of just matches and
I mean, on the poster,
or will there be some storyline behind it?
I mean, on the poster, it's Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns. I believe
got Seth on there. Haven't you? You've got Bianca Belair.
I believe Seth Rollins is rumored to return then. Whether he returns before December, who knows? But I'm just trying to find it now. But I mean, you would. It's a difficult one because they've brought it back, so there's going to be a lot of hype around it. Do they do it as like a live show? Like obviously it's going to be on NBC network, but is it going to be? Is it going to be in a house show, or is it going to be more of a kind of your generic kind of a mix between your Smackdown house show and like PLE type thing?
Yeah, I think it'll be very PLE based and.
Like a PLE version of like a house show type thing.
In a way, I'm not going to say there won't be much storyline behind it, because obviously we'll be on the road to the Royal Rumble and coming out of Survivor Series and
different bits like that. So you're going to have some of the stars there, as we see on the poster. Cody's advertised, Roman's advertised. You've got Seth on there. I think Bianca Belair, as I mentioned earlier, is on there. Yeah, it's just them four.
So you are going to have the stars on there, and it's just a case of, do they go for story-driven matchups? Do they go for what you would see on a house show in terms of maybe something they're thinking about for future or future programs, or do we see something a little bit in between?
I'm not sure, to be honest. You would think they would stick with the storylines to kind of keep the storylines going, and they're not going to stop the storyline just because of a show, so a house type show. I mean, there's going to be a lot of rumours going around. There's going to be lots of thoughts and feelings going in towards December, which is only 2 months away. We've got, obviously, Bad Blood in October to get round, so I'm sure more will be revealed over the next month or so. But, I mean, who could we see face each other on the card?
I think it's too early to predict any of that. What will be interesting, however, is this will go up against AEW Collision.
It will.
8 to 10 usually in America, and I think it's 1 to 3 over here in the UK, which is usually the time of they put PLEs on WWE. So it's going to be interesting to see the ratings battle. We do love a good ratings battle in professional wrestling. And I don't think many other aspects of television pay too much attention to ratings like pro wrestling does. But on the whole, Curtis, it's back. I obviously wasn't alive when Saturday Night Main Event was a thing back in the 80s and the 90s. Neither were you. You were just a twinkle in your father's eye, as the old saying is.
Indeed I was.
But yeah, I will have to have a little look back and see what it was like, whether it was story driven or just one-off matches, or cause quite a lot of good matches they could do if it is one-off matches. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they do it. But are you excited to see the return of Saturday Night Main Event, even if you don't really remember or know much about it?
I mean, I am excited to kind of see how they do it, because if they were not to go by storyline based and they were doing one-off matches, the amount of matches that they could do that are non-storyline driven would be pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited for it. I'm sure I'll get more excited over the next month or so when more kind of gets announced and what we can expect from it and different bits like that. So,
plus when we know a little bit more about the way that they're going, and then we can kind of
preview it then, can't we, and kind of discuss it fully in depth. But yeah, it's interesting to kind of guess what it's going to be. It's way too early to kind of guess, in my opinion. It's not long been announced. It got announced this week, I believe, at the start of the week. So it's going to be interesting. It is going to be interesting to see. Obviously, we'll do our research on kind of what it was and what it was about. But yeah, interesting to see.
Yes. So I'm just having a quick look at our good friends at Wikipedia. So it started back in 1985. That's a long time ago.
That is a very, very long time ago.
39 years ago. And yeah, it's been on and off. It was on the NBC originally.
Yeah.
Late night time slot that's usually put to Saturday Night Live. And then it ended in, I think it was 92. During the heyday, it drew 11.6 million people, and it's to this day the highest rating that any show has ever got in the history of that time slot. And then it disbanded, and in the end, it came back then in 2006 when Raw returned to the USA in 2005, or USA Network. It was revived as a special series to air on NBC as part of the deal between WWE and NBC Universal, and importantly, it featured Raw, Smackdown, and ECW rosters, because ECW was a WWE show at the time. So, yeah, that to me, as we would expect, looking at the poster where you've got Seth advertised and Cody, who are on two different brands at the moment, you are gonna see a good crossover.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was announced obviously this month after WWE's contract expired with Fox, and SmackDown has gone on to NBC on USA Network, which is owned by NBC, and entered a new agreement with NBC Universal, and part of that agreement was for 4 primetime specials on NBC per year, and the first one is going to be Saturday Night Main Event. So just interesting in there, Curtis. As I just read, according to Wikipedia, we are going to see 4 primetime specials on NBC per year from WWE. Do you see all 4 of them being Saturday Night Main Event, or do you see them mixing things up a little bit?
I mean, they would like to. I hope they kind of mix it up, because I mean, you could have maybe say 2 Saturday Night Main Events and then kind of have 2 different ones. But it all depends on the deal with kind of what NBC want realistically. If they're happy with just Saturday Night Main Events, or whether they want more than just Saturday Night Main Events. But I hope it's different, and it's not going to be the same thing. Because that'll be interesting to see.
Yeah.
If you go any further back, you are going to end up in the table. At least I get to frog splash you then. But yeah, do you think they should split it up and have different shows, or do you think they should just stick with Saturday Night Main Event?
I think Saturday Night Main Event works. 4 primetime specials on the Saturday night, when obviously normally on NBC you have Saturday Night Live, so when that's not airing, whether it's once a quarter, so you'll have one in December, then you might have one say around March, then you'll have one in the summertime, one around now being in September, then one towards Christmas.
Yeah.
Would make a lot of sense. Saturday Night Main Event would work. Obviously 4 of them a year would be quite cool. But yeah, it would be interesting to see how they go about it, whether it's they treat it like a house show on TV, or whether it's like a mini premium live event on TV, or whatever. But something we do know a little bit more about, Curtis.
Yes.
Monday Night Raw took place this week.
It did indeed, and what a show it was.
Indeed, and it's going to be a great show when the show opens up and the first thing you hear is Cult of Personality. It's going to be a good show. You just know it is.
Oh yeah, as soon as if it kicks off with CM Punk, you're in for a treat of a show. It's going to be good, because if it's not going to be the best of shows, they would save CM Punk for the main event segment. You just know, especially with this storyline between CM Punk and Drew McIntyre right now. It got announced the week before that we're having a Hell in a Cell match between CM Punk and Drew McIntyre at Bad Blood. And this was CM Punk's response to it all. And what a way to kick off Monday Night Raw. I'm going to let you read the CM Punk segment, because I know CM Punk is your favourite wrestler and you do love him dearly. So take it away, Luke.
Great tip. Thank you for that one.
No problem.
CM Punk, obviously, we're 2 weeks away next Sunday when we record our great podcast. We will be talking all things Bad Blood in a review. We'll be reviewing Bad Blood next Sunday, and it's shaping up the card, as we spoke about before, kind of fantasy booking different things on this podcast. It looks great.
So far, the matches that have been announced has been unreal. We've got CM Punk, Drew McIntyre, Roman and Cody versus Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu. We've got Rhea Ripley versus Liv Morgan. We've got Finn Balor versus Damian Priest. It's
Nia Jax against potentially Bayley and / or Naomi.
It's just, that card is just... It is
Chef's
brilliant.
kiss.
And I'm going to give Bad Blood a word.
Oh, yes, the word of the day. Go on.
The word of the day for Bad Blood is going to be...
anyway.
Or the card is going to be... baddest.
It's the baddest of bad.
Bad Blood is the baddest of bad.
So yeah, before we got distracted talking about Bad Blood card, we all kicked off. CM Punk made his way to the ring and he was scheduled. I think he was scheduled to kick off Raw, and he came out in a very gravelly voice, sounded very different to what we expect to hear from CM Punk. He addressed the fans and he addressed Drew McIntyre directly. He said that despite his best efforts with his family, I thought that was really, really great. I'd like to get your thoughts on this. He turned around and said that even his family have said they don't want, his wife, his friends have said that, if you go to this match at Hell in a Cell, you and Drew McIntyre, we've seen him become more and more unhinged as the week's gone on Monday Night Raw. He is just going to snap inside that ring, and it's going to be a very brutal, violent match. Don't do it, but he's still going to do it.
Do you know what's interesting about that? He's mentioned his family and his wife and kind of stuff like that. Luke, who is his wife?
AJ Lee.
What have been fans wanting for a while?
An AJ Lee return, maybe?
Could we see a AJ Lee return at Bad Blood? Could she be underneath the ring before the Hell in a Cell cage fully comes down? Could we see that? Could we see that? Do you think there's a possibility we could see AJ Lee return at Bad Blood to maybe help CM Punk win and finish the storyline for good? Do you think that could happen? Maybe.
I don't. We've seen. I just want to compare quickly. Beth Phoenix has come out with Edge when Edge was still in WWE, and kind of helped him, and she's had some matches with him against when he was feuding with the Judgment Day and whatever. But I think AJ Lee is just happy with what she's doing at the moment. She's a full-time writer. She's doing stuff in Hollywood with films and TV and production and writing and books and using their more creative talents to good use.
Yeah, that's true. Would you like to see an AJ Lee return?
Of course. Who wouldn't? Who wouldn't like to see an AJ Lee return?
What do you think the possibilities are of it happening? Out of 100%, what are you going to say the possibilities are?
Do you want my word of the day?
Go on, and what is your word of the day for this possible return of AJ Lee?
Unlikely.
Okay, that's a good word. Unlikely. That's a good word.
Because, like I say, I think she's happy doing whatever she's doing at the moment. But we see with Roxanne Perez on NXT this week, we know that she admires Punk and AJ Lee and looks up to them and looked up to them when she was coming through and when she was younger or whatever. If she's going to come back and wrestle anyone, it's going to be Roxanne. I think it just makes too much sense.
Yeah, I think it will happen.
You think it will happen?
I think it will happen.
Ooh.
Somewhere further down the line, whether it be after Bad Blood, whether it be somewhere along the lines of the next year or so, I think at some point in the near distant future we will see AJ Lee versus Roxanne Perez. Whether that be for NXT title, who knows? But I think it could happen. Maybe when Roxanne Perez eventually debuts on the main roster. Who knows? But I think that could happen.
Very likely, or very unlikely at the moment, in my opinion. Very likely, in your opinion.
Kind of.
Time will tell.
I'd say at the moment unlikely, but further down the line likely.
Okay.
So I'm not going to say it's never going to happen.
I think it's kind of if their schedules match.
If their schedules match, then I think it could happen.
Like what we've seen with The Rock and people like that.
John
Cena and Batista in years gone by. If they can, they will. If not,
then so be it.
Yeah. But yeah, a couple of great lines from Punk. He admitted he can't really afford to go in a Hell in a Cell match at his age and this point in his career. But if it means the end of his career, then so be it. He's got so much aggression and anger towards Drew McIntyre that despite everyone's telling him no,
Don't do
it's
it.
going to hurt you. This could be it. This could be your last ever match. This could be your career. But he's saying, and yeah, I'm going to make you bleed. I promise you're going to have to kill me.
Wow. Very, very, very interesting. He's gonna make Drew bleed. If he seems to think he says he's had a great career, which he has. If this is the end, so be it. I know them words hurt you ever so slightly. I know it as you're falling off your chair. It hurts your heart. He also said, if you are prepared for this...
Yeah, this is his closing line. His kind of mic drop. If you're prepared for this to be the end of Drew McIntyre, then I'll see you in hell.
Wrapping up his promo.
I think that's a really, really
good way to
great way, staring down the camera really close. And what I really liked as well is purposefully or accidentally, one half of his, almost like Two-Face from the DC comics, his one half of his face was kind of like in black from the shadow of the camera, and then the other half of his face was in the light.
Yeah, the production and
going back to what he was kind of saying earlier about in his promo about, you know, he's got his angel on his one side and the devil on the other, and he's basically ignored the angel and listened to the devil.
Yeah, I really, really am excited for this Bad Blood match. Hell in a Cell, CM Punk, Drew McIntyre, Atlanta, Georgia.
You've got to say it right, Curtis. Hell in a Cell. I cannot do the Vince for all his issues. He does say it really well.
Yeah, he does. Am I going to do
it? So that was CM Punk's promo on this week's Raw. As we mentioned, you want a really, really good way to start a show off, and I think this is the perfect way. Again, something else I really, really like, they're keeping them apart. We've seen Drew McIntyre now on Monday will appear, but there's no advertisement of Punk. Punk appeared on Monday with no Drew McIntyre. They haven't been on screen together, I don't think, since Drew McIntyre assaulted CM Punk 2 weeks ago and left him in a bloody mess on the way to the hospital. We haven't seen Drew since.
Interesting.
So I do like the very reminiscent of kind of the start of this feud where Punk was injured and he was sporadically popping up on television. Yeah, they've kept them apart.
Yeah, they have. I can understand why they're building this feud. They're letting them individually have their own promos, and the problem that they had is they kept having kind of the same thing, one another attacking each other, depending on whether it be before or after the promo. So I believe this is the right choice. And
did you say you believe?
I do believe. I do believe it's the right choice. I believe in CM Punk. I believe in Drew McIntyre. I believe in Triple H. I even believe in WWE. So, yeah, I also believe in a certain someone else as well. And it's not Joe Hendry. It's not Braun Breaker. It's the Yeet Man himself.
Yeah, well, I was just going to talk about this quickly with you. We're 25 minutes into this podcast. We've only reviewed one segment on part one of Monday Night Raw. So, yeah, just quickly, Jey Uso, we thought this could be at Bad Blood. I think they mentioned it maybe once on commentary is going to be at Bad Blood, but it's not. It's going to be on Monday Night Raw this week, the winner of the Intercontinental Tournament. Jey Uso is going to challenge Braun Breaker on Monday on Raw, probably in the main event. Braun Breaker only won the title at SummerSlam about 2-3 months ago.
He did, indeed.
Surely you don't take the title off him this soon, surely?
You wouldn't think so, but with how...
Especially with Jey Uso's attention being on the whole Judgment Day stuff and the Terror Twins and in a couple of weeks the Bloodline and... I mean, I would love to see Jey Uso with the Intercontinental title. I mean, it would be brilliant. It would elevate him even more.
Do they give it to him? I don't think they will. So, yeah, I think Bron Breakker gets away with this one. Another thing that I do want to talk about quickly is about the Jey Uso stuff, is what Jay mentioned to Bron. He said he's been on the main roster and in WWE for 14 years. He then took a shot at Bron Breakker's short NFL career. He dodged a spear and then delivered a spear to Bron Breakker. Could that be the scene tomorrow night?
No, I think Bron Breakker wins. I think that, John Cena's having his retirement tour, and there's one title that John Cena has never won in WWE,
which is the Intercontinental.
That's the Intercontinental title. So on his farewell tour, do I see him winning the title? Yes, I do. Do I see him beating Bron Breakker for it? Potentially. And I think for Bron to be in the ring with John Cena on his retirement tour,
it would elevate Bron so much.
Elevates him, and even in defeat, I think there are ways that he can be put over by
other storylines, and maybe eventually,
John Cena.
Maybe somewhere further down the line, Bron Breakker loses the Intercontinental title to John Cena, and then gets some wins up, and maybe looks to go for the world title somewhere further down the line next year. Who knows? But yeah, like you've said, I think Bron Breakker will come out on Raw as champion. As much as Jey Uso is hot in WWE right now and is really over the crowd.
He's over, but do I see him winning a title, a singles title? No. I see him winning a tag title again? Absolutely.
Who would his tag team partner be?
Who do you think?
I mean, it'd only be right to be Jimmy Uso.
Yes.
So the Usos reunion, which we know will happen, we think it's going to happen, it's guaranteed to happen. It's not a rumour, it's a spoiler. And you think who do you think interesting? I think I know who they might go for. I think I just might know who they will go for.
Tama Tonga and Tongaloa.
Yes. Or they could go for the Judgment Day. Who knows?
They won't. They'll play into the Bloodline story.
True.
Roman will face The Rock. I don't know who Solo Sikoa or Tama Tonga or Jacob Fatu might face at WrestleMania. But I definitely see the Usos against.
I'm sure will all be revealed over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, so promo on Raw, but that wasn't the end of Jey Uso and Bron Breakker for the night, was it, Curtis?
It was not.
If we skip towards the main event, there was a lot on Raw, which, in a way, you can cross out. Oh my God, of course Erling Haaland scores. Yeah, because pretty much all the Judgment Day had a match, apart from Carlito and Liv Morgan.
Yeah.
Because Finn Balor and JD McDonough defended the tag titles, and Priest defeated Dominic Mysterio in the main event. Which, the main event, we'll come back to the tag team, because we want to go more into the New Day in a second. But Damian Priest defeats Dominic Mysterio. Liv Morgan came out and went flying over the announce table, ensuring she would not have an impact on the outcome. Rhea Ripley took out Liv Morgan. It would be helpful if I could read.
That would be helpful, Luke.
Liv Morgan was taken out by Rhea Ripley on the announce table, making sure that she wouldn't have an impact on making sure that her boyfriend Dominic Mysterio would beat Damian Priest. Priest hit a South of Heaven chokeslam on Mysterio, which got him the win. And then afterwards, I think the Judgment Day started to beat down the Terror Twins or Damian Priest, which then Jey Uso's music hit for him to come out and make the save. But then Bron Breakker, I've watched this back since, and I can see where this is coming from. He did miss his cue by a couple of seconds.
He did indeed. Because
Jey Uso was kind of stood around, and you think, just get in the ring, Jey. just get in the ring and help them out, because he's just kind of stood there staring at them, and then all of a sudden from out of nowhere, Braun Breaker comes out the way and spears. He got the final say on the issues with Jey Uso on this episode of Raw.
I know, he did indeed. It did look like he did miss his cue, though, I must admit. But he did spear Jey Uso, he did take him out, and I'm pretty sure that will be the ending of Monday Night Raw tomorrow, with Braun Breaker spearing.
Yeah, do you think this is a bit of foreshadowing?
I think so, yeah. I think it will be. Talking about the Judgment Day.
Yes, going back, because for the first time since they won the tag titles a couple of months ago, Finn Balor and Damian Priest, they used to be the tag champs. The current tag champs, Finn Balor and JD McDonough, just about defeated the New Day and retained their tag titles. But that wasn't it. And I wanted to get your thoughts on this, Curtis. The New Day have been together for 10 years plus. We've seen, obviously, Big E, unfortunately, suffer an injury and broke his neck at the hands of Ridge Holland back in 2022, I want to say it was, 21, 22.
Yeah.
But where do you see this going? Because the challengers New Day were very close to being the champs, but then a brawl ringside caused a distraction and diverted the referee's attention from Xavier Woods, who hit his finisher, the top rope elbow. They should have got the win, and I think he got the 1, 2, 3 in the ring, but the ref had his back turned. Surprise, surprise. And yeah, they were teasing it when before all the horrible rumours came out about Odyssey Jones, which we won't go into. But they looked like they were going to turn then, or he was going to turn then, and over the past few weeks, like we mentioned with Drew McIntyre coming more and more unhinged, he's over the past, say, month or two since they started feuding with Karrion Kross and the Final Testament, it seems like the New Day might not be about to be the New Day anymore. It might be an old day.
It does look like that. The frustration from Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston are there. It looks like it could be a split coming. I mean, it's been talked about for years and years on end about how they would do it and would they ever do it. And because the New Day, one of the biggest factions that have ever come out of WWE in the past few years. So it's an interesting one. Who's going to turn heel? Xavier Woods will turn heel. A one-on-one match between them. Royal Rumble time? Maybe sooner? Yes.
WrestleMania.
You think it'll be WrestleMania?
I think it'll be a WrestleMania match.
I mean, I think they both will be in the Royal Rumble match.
You know, for as you mentioned, one of the most impactful factions in recent memory in WWE and in this modern era. You know, I've seen people online say that this could lead to a Big E return to kind of heal the wounds in the New Day, and that's where the whole storyline was heading.
Yeah.
I think it'll be... I don't know. I don't think we'll see Big E return to a wrestling ring again. I could be proven wrong. Could be proven wrong.
Could he be a special guest referee?
Potentially, but again, it depends on his neck. I wouldn't like to see the New Day split up because they are short on tag teams as it is. Or
they are at the moment.
Short on meaningful tag teams. Obviously, we see the likes of Grayson Waller and Austin Theory thrown together and people like that.
Awful tag team.
Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate put together and whatnot. But yeah, you've got a limited
amount of tag teams,
amount of reasonable tag teams. So why would they split another one? I know that you got the Usos coming back, and they've signed, or they're going to sign the Lucha Brothers, which we'll talk about towards the end, and the Motor City Machine Guns are coming in on NXT and things like that. But they obviously got a story in mind. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, it's a difficult one. It looks very muddy waters is the way to describe it. I don't know how this is going to lead. Who knows? It is an interesting one, and yeah, I just interesting is the word I'm going to use for it.
Yeah, and this goes back to Karrion Kross. I like Karrion Kross. I know there's memes about him not getting reactions when he comes out and whatever have you. I like him. He's a great promo. If you listen to him, he can cut a really meaningful promo. And, you know, he's said that he's been in feud with Drew McIntyre, and then Drew McIntyre obviously has gone heelish, and he's lost something after feuding with Kross. He's feuded with Rey Mysterio, and then I think with Rey Mysterio happened with Dominic. He's feuded with the New Day, and now they look like they're going to turn heel, or they're going to break up. He's feuded with Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits. Now Bobby Lashley isn't there anymore. He's feuded with these people, and it seems like not a curse of feuding with him, but you know, if you feud with someone, if Kross feuds with someone, then they're going to lose something.
Yeah, it does kind of seem that way, doesn't it? It's an interesting one. Again, it's everything to do with this is interesting, but I do agree with you. Karrion Kross is a brilliant wrestler. He's really good on the mic. He's really good at delivering these promotions.
Do you know who reminds me of?
Who?
A younger Edge.
Yeah,
in a way.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. I do agree with you. He's very, very good on the mic. He's a very good wrestler. But he just doesn't seem like he's getting that reaction from the crowd, and sometimes he is, sometimes he's not. But it's an interesting one. It really is. But I mean, they've got a plan. They've clearly got a plan with this New Day and stuff. I think Xavier Woods will turn heel, and it will be a one-on-one against Kofi Kingston at some point further down the line. Yes. What's your thoughts? What do you think will happen?
Well, like I say, I think it'll be a WrestleMania match, and
deservedly as well.
Deservedly, yeah. As we said, that they've been going for 10 years, the New Day plus. So I think, yeah, it's only fair that you see them at WrestleMania. Again, as we've seen with other feuds, long-term storytelling in play. You know, we're how far are we out from WrestleMania? Still another 6 months out.
Yeah, about that. About 5 months, I think. About 5 months out now. 5.5 months, I think.
Yeah, so long-term storytelling, as we've seen under the Triple H era, and it's been done to perfection. We think of the Uso storyline where, you know, SummerSlam, it started and then it culminated to WrestleMania. Just hope that this match is better than that match and it's not just a super kick fest.
Hopefully.
Fingers crossed. But
I mean, that was quite jarring, just seeing super kicks.
Yeah, anyway. Yeah, it'll be a WrestleMania match. Big E will be involved in some way, shape or form.
Yeah.
But speaking of Big E, one of the things he is famous for saying is big meaty men slapping meat. Right. And I think that's only fair that we finish our Raw portion of this podcast by talking about that thing indeed, that being Braun Strowman and Bronson Reed. Two of the biggest men in WWE, probably two of the biggest men in professional wrestling. Yeah, they both continue to unleash hell on Monday Night Raw against each other. We've seen them we've seen Bronson Reed, I think, put Braun Strowman on the top of a car.
We've seen some chaotic brawls. I'm going to use this segment. It's going to be the word of the day. Word of the day for this segment, and I've got it already.
Go on.
Chaotic.
Very good word. Why that word?
Well, on Raw we've seen ropes break from the ring.
Yes.
We've seen barriers torn down.
Yes.
We seen tables and walls broken backstage. And we saw something that is very, very wild. A poor fan in the crowd got thrown by Bronson Reed onto Braun Strowman on Monday Night Raw.
Yes.
Chaotic it was. I'm loving the storyline. Two humongous men. Some enormous power between the two of them. But yeah, it was chaos indeed. What's your thoughts on it, Luke?
It was going to come to a head at some point. We've seen Bronson Reed have a breakout moment when he absolutely tore Seth Rollins apart, which was the last time we've seen Seth Rollins. So at some point they're going to have a match when Seth returns, which should be a really cool match. But you know what you're going to get when you get two men of this size and stature in the ring. It's like what you get when Braun Strowman and you think of the big men in WWE. You've got your Omoses and your who else can you think of that are big men in WWE?
You got Braun Strowman, Bronson Reed, Braun Breaker.
No, historically.
Oh, historically, Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
Great Khali.
Yeah.
Omos.
Anyway, whenever you get like
Bobby Lashley as well.
Yeah, whenever you get those kind of people together in a ring, you know that something mega is going to happen. We all remember. I think it was Mark Henry against, I can't remember who. They took a suplex off the top rope, and the ring just collapsed.
Yeah, the ring did collapse.
I had expectations that could happen on Monday on Raw, but it didn't.
It did not. The ropes broke, though.
The ropes did break, and a fan got thrown about, and
barriers got torn down,
yes,
tables got broken. Chaotic brawl, indeed.
As you said, for your word of the day, chaotic, which I wholeheartedly agree with. Do you see this being the end of the feud, or because Bronson Reed, obviously, as I said, attacked Seth Rollins, former World Heavyweight Champion, coming off having a match for the World Heavyweight title against Damian Priest at Money in the Bank, and being involved in Drew McIntyre and CM Punk, and all of that those shenanigans. And
no, I don't think this is the end.
No,
I think they will have one more match, and I think it might be like a no DQ match, kind of Extreme Rules match. I think they could have, or last man standing match. I mean, that would be a good match to kind of end it on, is like a last man standing match, which would be a brawl and a half, and I'm sure it would be chaotic indeed.
Talking of last man standing, it's time to talk about AEW.
It is indeed.
That's a great segue there. So, yeah, once a year AEW tends to go to, around this time, go to Arthur Ashe Stadium just after the US Open tennis has finished. Obviously, Arthur Ashe Stadium is the main tennis arena there in New York, and quite often every year they seem to go back there with AEW Grand Slam. Now, it's a little bit up in the air if this will be the last one in New York. As we know, Curtis, because we were at Wembley Stadium when they announced it,
we was.
Grand Slam 2025 is heading down under.
It is. It's going to Aussie.
It's going to Australia.
It is going to Australia indeed.
So, it'll be interesting to see if this is it.
Yeah.
For Arthur Ashe Stadium and AEW. I mean, if we look quickly at ticket sales, it's like London. It's like when All In, every year they've gone there, it's gone down.
Yeah.
I don't know whether it's the matches or people aren't necessarily interested, or whether the effect of, oh wow, they're doing a wrestling show here is worn off, or what, I don't know. But I think last time I checked, they'd only sold about 5,000 tickets, if that.
What's the capacity of the stadium?
I think first time they were there, they had 20,000 people.
Wow.
Wow. So 20,000 to 5 in, I want to say it's like 3 years. I'm sure there's still quite a few tickets in the days ahead, and it'll be more like 8,000.
Yeah, it's just not good.
But still,
we've said it before on the podcast. We've noticed that each time they go to they do the same show in the same place consecutively over a couple of years. It just goes down and down and down and down from 20,000 to 5,000 so far. That's really not good. That really, really isn't good at all. I mean, is it the booking? Not for this one, I'd say, because we've got some really good matches on this card. But is it because some fans just aren't interested in AEW anymore? But I mean, it's still a really, really good. They still put on really, really good shows. So I don't know what it is with it, but it's the same thing, kind of. Whether it be All In, All Out, Grand Slam, Dynamite, Collision, they all seem to just dip and up down kind of thing, and it's not good. They're not overly selling out all their shows. So
I think they only sold about 2,000 tickets the other day for a show. And watching on TV, most, when WWE are doing a show, you can see quite a lot of the crowd, obviously, because it's sold out. It was close to being sold out or whatever, and you've got a lot of people there. And, it's lit really, really well. You can see most of the crowd. But when AEW do shows, quite a lot of it is darkened out, obviously, because there's no people there.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't look good on TV.
No.
And it doesn't look good for a business either. Mainly because, considering the fact that AEW, All Elite Wrestling, is...
Well, the best wrestle?
Yes, but they're competing with WWE. And WWE are selling out not only their weekly shows, their PLEs, their house shows. They're selling every show they pretty much do. They're selling it out guaranteed. And there's no consistency with AEW with that. The only consistency is they're not selling it out, which is kind of the worst part for them. They're not selling it out, which just doesn't look good, does it? It just really isn't professional at all. But we have a card to talk about.
We do, because even despite what we've just spoken about, they do return to New York City this week for the third year in a row for Grand Slam, fourth year in a row for Grand Slam. I think it's third. So we won't go over the card because there's 7 matches and we'll be here till 10 o'clock at night. We'll be here till Grand Slam actually starts, still reviewing Grand Slam. It'll be a Grand Slam of a podcast.
It'll just be a 24-hour podcast, a 48-hour podcast. Preview, WWE, preview / review. Might as well just turn it into a live show, won't we, Luke?
I know. So I just wanted to talk about a couple of matches. The first one I want to talk about is Pac and the Blackpool Combat Club being Claudio Castagnoli and Wheeler Yuta in the open challenge for the World Trios title. Do we see the Doncaster family?
You mean the Don Callis family?
Doncaster family? No, I'm joking.
Luke getting something wrong for AEW. My God, what's happened?
I'm only quoting you there.
No, you're on the Tony Khan stuff. You are.
I'm quoting you there, Curtis. You said about the Doncaster family because you didn't know what they were called.
I mean, it's true.
It's the Doncaster family. Doncaster.
It's the Don Callis.
Don Callis what family?
Yeah.
No, you said Doncaster something family.
I don't know. It's going to be fucking someone.
But the reason why I wanted to kick off, you can cut that a little bit out. The reason why I wanted to kick off this part of the podcast talking about that is because we can tie it in with Jon Moxley as well in his match against Darby Allin. But when they turned and attempted murder on Bryan Danielson a couple of weeks ago, really Yuta had to be restrained by, I believe it was Pac. And if you look at him there, Curtis, if you look at when the turn happened at All Out, he had to be, as I said, restrained and walked when Bryan Danielson was carried to the back. Yuta was with him.
Yeah.
So, and I think Pat cut a promo on Dynamite this past Wednesday night on TV and said that they haven't heard from him since the turn.
Yeah.
So, what do you see happening here? Will Wheeler Yuta reluctantly team with them? Or do you see him not appearing at all and them losing in a handicap match?
It sounds like something AEW would do. So I'm going to put a wild prediction out there, and that is going to be Wheeler Yuta will not turn up, and Pac and the Blackpool Combat Club will lose in a handicap match for the AEW World Trios Championship. I mean, they might lose, they might win, but I believe it'll be a handicap match. That's my prediction. I mean, it would be good if they did win a handicap match. It would look good for them. So that could happen. What's your thoughts? What is your honest thoughts?
Now, an open challenge is always interesting.
It is.
Because you never know who's going to answer.
Indeed.
And do I see Wheeler Yuta? Yes. Again, as we mentioned before, I think it depends on... depends on when in the card this is. Because I see Wheeler Yuta turning heel on this card. I do. I 100% do. They've obviously, Yuta was reluctant and, as I said, to be restrained from trying to help Bryan Danielson and fight back against the Blackpool Combat Club a couple of weeks ago at All Out in Chicago. But I do see him turning heel. I think it's only to delay the inevitable, put more of a spotlight on Wheeler Yuta turning. Because if he turned when everyone else turned, it would have been a little bit lost. But kind of delaying it a little bit, I think, will be a little bit more impactful.
Yeah. So
I see turning heel on Danielson after the match against McGuinness.
Yeah.
Obviously, we know that John Moxley will face Darby Allin for a shot to the AEW World title. And the winner will face the winner of Bryan Danielson against Nigel McGuinness at Wrestle Dream in Washington, where Darby Allin is from, surprisingly, and Danielson is as well, so it would be both their guys' hometown. I think the more interesting question, though, Curtis, I do 100% see Wheeler Yuta turning heel.
Yeah.
On Danielson and the Blackpool, or the Packpool Combat Club, as I've seen people call them, will now be a heel faction with John Moxley and Marina Shafir as El Shafir as the leader or leaders of that faction. Who do I see answering the challenge? We do like fancy booking and we do like making wild predictions. Prediction here, the answer, open challenge can be answered by Bobby Lashley, MVP, and Shelton Benjamin. I'm gonna put it on the line. Go on.
Do you know, I didn't think of that, but I believe that could happen. We thought Bobby Lashley might have turned up at All In. It wasn't. It was Ricochet. What a way to do it! Grand Slam, Open Challenge, Trios title. What a way to bring him in. What a way. I 100% agree with that.
Plus, again, it depends on where in the card it is, with some tendencies to turn heel and not. With Yuta, I think they'll play into that in the match. If this match goes for the world title match, which you think it would do? You think the world title match would main event or maybe open, as we've seen sometimes in WWE. But I do see them losing because Yuta, A, either won't show up, or B, will be reluctant to tag with them because of what they did to the person who I think brought him into the Blackpool Combat Club, and Danielson, and someone who he respects greatly. Talking of that match, Curtis, we see Nigel McGuinness at Wembley Stadium.
We did.
Get the kiss of life from Mariah May, and since then, he returned, walked out to Oasis. Oasis got back together again, and he's wrestled another match against Bryan Danielson, and Oasis will be playing as he walks to the ring on Wednesday night on TV. It's been a great revival for Nigel McGuinness.
It has. What a way to bring him back. Do you know, I didn't even know he disappeared. I didn't even know. He disappeared. And
What do you mean
then...
disappeared? What do you mean he disappeared?
Well, I just
He hasn't been wrestling over 10 years.
No, I'm not wrestling. Obviously, he was a commentator, wasn't he? And he was commentating. And he just... his music just hit. And everyone went wild. I was just like, wow. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. What a reaction he got, I must say.
Wow, 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 1,000 times over.
Well. Well, I'll tell you what.
Is that going to be your word of the day here? Wow.
Braniel
Danielson?
Bryan Danielson versus Nigel McGuinness. Right.
Yeah, go on. Word of the day is...
For this?
Yes.
It'd only be right. Slam.
It's going to slam. It's going to be a slam of a match. Who do you see winning? Do you see Danielson winning and then going on to face Darby Allin or Jon Moxley in Wrestle Dream?
I mean, the obvious answer would be Darby Allin. But
no, who do you see winning the world title match?
The world title match? Oh, what, between Bryan Danielson and Nigel McGuinness?
Yeah.
I believe it will be Bryan Danielson.
Yeah, me too.
And then...
It won't be the final countdown on his career just yet.
It's the final countdown.
Although there's so much history and story to be played into this with their feud in Ring of Honor going back 10 years or even longer than that, 20 years ago, and which I think that there's a lot more story there that they could flesh out rather than, a 2-week build or something that, I think it's been put together because they need big names on there to sell some tickets.
Yeah.
But has this been the best build up to this match? No. But will it be a good match? Yeah, it will be.
Yeah, it will be a brilliant match. Really looking forward to it. I think Bryan Danielson will come out victorious in this match, though. 100%.
Yeah.
100% Bryan Danielson.
Just quickly, last thing as well, Curtis, on this cab before we move on to SmackDown. I know we've been going for about an hour now, so we don't want to bore the listeners for too much longer.
We don't.
Rambling on about professional wrestling. Jon Moxley, Darby Allin, we've spoken about this a couple of weeks on this podcast. Winner will face Danielson, Wrestle Dream for the world title. Darby Allin win. Yeah, he can build some momentum going forwards towards Wrestle Dream.
Yeah, I think Darby Allin will win this one, and it will go on to he will go on to face Bryan Danielson at Wrestle Dream.
Will he beat Danielson at Wrestle Dream?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, I agree with you there. We'll have a review of that in the week one week, Curtis, next week.
We will indeed.
After we watch it all. Smackdown. We're nearly done. Nearly done.
Nearly done. Just some very brief things to discuss on SmackDown.
Yeah, LA Knight and Andrade. Andrade seemingly won the feud between him and Carmelo Hayes, but he won the best of 5, which led to him getting a shot at the United States title, and the one, the only, with everybody saying LA Knight.
Yeah.
And yeah, really, really good match to kick off SmackDown. They began with a hesitant handshake before getting into some fast-paced action, it says on our notes. And we know that Andrade is the speed champion at the moment, so you know what you're going to get with Andrade, high flyer, luchador. Very talented, very, very talented. I don't think we've really seen the best out of him in AEW.
Yeah.
I think we are now in WWE under the creative control of Triple H. LA Knight ended up winning, retaining his title. I didn't see Andrade winning here, in my opinion. LA Knight's only won it, as we mentioned earlier, with Braun Breaker at SummerSlam.
We knew it was going to happen, though. LA Knight was going to win the US title. It was inevitable.
I thought Andrade made a really, really good job of making LA Knight look really, really good.
Andrade did a really good job, yeah. I agree with that. Good opening match. And then it was a hesitant handshake before getting right into some fast-paced action, as you've just said.
Yeah, and it was a hesitant it was a hesitant standoff at the end of the match.
Yeah.
LA Knight beat him clean, which I thought was interesting. He pinned him 1, 2, 3, and yeah, they had to stand off, and then Andrade raised LA Knight's hand and put him over. And backstage after that, then we seen Carmelo Hayes. He what did he say to him? You're washed. Put the fries in the bag, bro.
Something along those lines, yeah.
You're washed, Curtis, on this podcast. You just put the fries in the bag, please, bro. Go on.
Safe.
In it.
Brav. Will Ospreay. Brav.
And then, yeah, obviously it's, what is it? Is it 3-2 to Andrade? It's a best of 5 at the moment. It's looking like it's going to be a best of 7.
Yeah.
And I think Carmelo Hayes will win the next one, whether that be on Smackdown, and then the 7th match will be on Bad Blood, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So, yeah, really, really good match to kick Smackdown off, and obviously looking forward to seeing. It's been a great feud between Carmelo Hayes and Andrade. It's the kind of feud that we, necessarily haven't seen in a while in WWE. Obviously, normally their story base is for a title or
something along those lines.
It's for something, or it's pride. It's there's story behind it, whether it's a turn happens or this is a straight up, who is the better wrestler? Who is better?
Yeah.
Who can beat their opponent more? And at the moment, it's looking like it's Andrade.
It does look
for now, but like I say, I think that could be the final match added to Bad Blood, whether that be potentially on the kickoff show or if there's any more room to Bad Bloods or whatever.
I agree.
But that happened. Just quickly, Chris, I want to get your thoughts on this. We seen a couple of weeks ago the debut on the main roster. I say the debut with the single star Giovanni Vinci. We've seen him with Imperium, but he's on his own now. In the gimmick that we've seen him in NXT against Apollo Crews. Lost first time round in a squash match. Lost again this time round.
He did indeed. He did lose in a squash match again.
What do you think of this?
It just annoys me slightly.
Mm.
It just annoys me slightly because they made a kind of a little bit of a big fuss of his return.
Yeah.
Just for him to come back and lose 2 matches on the trot and squash matches. I mean, they could just build this up, but where does it lead? Where does it really lead if he keeps losing matches? Like, it's not as if he's winning matches. It could lead him to a title match.
Yeah.
It's just leading him backwards. But, I mean, people are going to have different opinions on this story. I know you've got a different opinion to what I have on this storyline. I disagree with it. I don't see what they're doing with it. I mean, I could be missing something here, but I just don't agree with it. My personal opinion is I really don't agree with him losing back-to-back squash matches.
And then after that, then we seen a WWE air video, and it was so well done. I really enjoyed watching this, Curtis. I don't know about you. It's one of the best things we've seen all year. It was meeting on the 50-yard line of the stadium of Texas Tech, where Roman Reigns used to play football for, or American football, as we say here in the UK.
Yeah.
And it's where, obviously, Cody's from Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah.
It was so well done.
It was written by the wise man himself, Paul Heyman.
And I think you can see that Roman, despite coming back as a babyface, you could still see kind of the heelish ways of almost he wants the title, and
the way he was speaking was a little bit like his
old tribal chief.
Yeah, the old tribal chief, kind of the heel promo type vibe. Not real heel, but babyface heel. And he went on to say he's got nothing to lose. He's lost Jimmy. He's lost the wise man. He's lost his family's Ulafala to Solo Sikoa. But Cody Rhodes has a lot more than Roman Reigns. Cody Rhodes has his reputation on the line. He has the WWE title to worry about. he has a lot of things to worry about. But at the end of the day, all said and done, I acknowledge Roman Reigns as the original and the only tribal chief.
The only tribal chief. Ugh. Not Solo Sikoa.
Nope.
So, yeah, if that's the sign of things to come when they move to Netflix, then sign me up. Sign me up. That was awesome. Hopefully we see Roman on next week's Smackdown. But I think the standout thing for me is kind of, despite Roman wanting the title and him saying that it still is WWE and all that, they found a little bit of common ground, obviously, on the bloodline. And then towards the end, Cody asked for Roman's word, which Roman offered, and that was it. It was only on for about 5-6 minutes.
Yeah, it was. Which
was really, really well produced and really, really well done. And yes, we're going to see CM Punk and Drew McIntyre, but that's got to be up there with one of the matches that I'm most anticipated on the night.
Same.
That wasn't the end of the bloodline, though.
It was not.
Kevin Owens came out for a promo, and then they surrounded the ring, only for DIY to make the save, I believe. And that was looking like it was going to be the main event. And then DIY, as they were coming out for the main event, were taken out backstage by the bloodline, and it was looking like it was going to be a 3-on-1 handicap match before the Street Profits arrived and made the save. Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins.
They did.
After the break, the match got started with them joining Kevin Owens. Tongaloa was isolated by the babyface to side before he eventually tagged in Jacob Fatu, who every week is just shining and just looking better and better every week. It ended up being a DQ match because the bloodline got on top and they were looking like they were about to put Kevin Owens through a table, and
surprise
there. And DIY then made the save, which the referee lost control and ended up breaking out into a ringside brawl. Do you see? Obviously, we know that Kevin Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu are taken up. Do you see potentially if KO can get a tag partner, a match there potentially for some tag team titles? Or because you got DIY, you've got the Street Profits and the tag team champs all in there, and Kevin Owens. Yeah. Kevin Owens seems to be tagging with Randy Orton.
Yeah.
What do you see potentially this leading to a tag team title match?
I think so, and I think Kevin and Randy will win.
Ooh, do you? Not the Usos winning the tag titles at WrestleMania against Tama Tonga and Tongaloa.
See, look, I mean, you've got to weigh it up. It could either be Cody. The most likely winner would be the Usos.
Yes.
The second most likely winners, Randy and Kevin.
Yes.
They could either do it so Kevin and Randy...
Although, you say that, as SmackDown was looking to go off the air, Cody came out and made the save on everyone and, ran the bloodline away. And Kevin Owens was in the ring with a steel chair, I believe, because Cody came to the ring with a steel chair.
He did indeed.
To try and fight the bloodline away, or fight the bloodline off.
And scared them away.
And the chair was picked up by Kevin Owens, who turned and looked at Cody and was, even more than we've usually seen him, contemplating hitting him and turning heel. It's only a matter of time, surely.
It is only a matter of time. I think it will happen next week, maybe the week after.
Is that a prediction from you?
It's not a prediction.
It's a spoiler. All right, Paul Heyman. So,
ladies and gentlemen,
my name
is Paul Heyman.
So, he didn't attack him because Cody turned round in time, but it looks they shook hands because, what was really, really well done after they came out of the Cody and Roman video in Georgia Tech. I want to keep saying Texas Tech. They're both universities in America, or both football teams in America. Yeah. Byron Saxton was backstage and found Kevin Owens watching it. Obviously, Kevin Owens, for the past 3 years or so, has had his issues with Roman Reigns and the bloodline and, you know, teaming with Sami Zayn and that whole storyline. So for him and his friend Cody Rhodes to turn around, or one of his best friends, Cody Rhodes, to turn around and accept the help of Roman Reigns, who has caused so much damage to him and to the WWE as a whole, leading the bloodline, you know, must be quite upsetting in kayfabe for him.
Oh yeah, Kevin helped Cody so much to scare the bloodline away and just kind of get Cody that title at WrestleMania, but just for then Cody to team up with Roman Reigns. I understand why they've done it with Cody. I mean, I do and I don't with Cody and Roman. Unexpected, I must say, when it got announced by Nick Aldis on Smackdown. I really wasn't expecting it to happen. Going from facing each other at WrestleMania and having what we could say the greatest match in the modern era.
Which one now, Roman and Cody?
Yeah. I mean, come on. They had
1 or 2?
Second.
I think the build more than anything.
The build was good. I mean, the match. The reason why I say the match was so good is because we seen John Cena in the match. We seen The Rock in the match. We seen The Undertaker in the match. It was just. We seen Jimmy and Jey Uso.
Solo Sikoa.
It was just. And it was one thing after another, and it was just spectacular. So I can understand why Kevin is upset.
Yeah.
And I do believe there is going to be a heel turn very, 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 very soon.
And if Kevin doesn't turn heel on Cody, Curtis can turn heel on me, because it's another hour and a half podcast for him to go and edit.
It is indeed.
Which I'm sure he's looking forward to. Indeed. And hopefully you'll join us, as well as all other editions of the Are You Ready Wrestling podcast.